All right, Miss Marissa, I believe you also needed support with number 3 and number 9 on the CR, so I'm going to go ahead and make a video supporting you on those two problems. Number 3 said the manager, or I don't know if you need support, we didn't get to them this week. So maybe you don't even need support. If you do, it's here. So number 3 says the manager of a pizza parlor kept a record of the types of crusts ordered for the last 100 pizzas. The results are shown in the table below. Find the experimental probability that the next customer will order a thick crust. Okay, so if you just want experimental probability, you want the part who order thick crust out of the total orders. And they say that he kept track for the last 100 pizzas. So let me just double check. If we're going to add all these different thin, thick, pan, pizza, if we're going to add these all up, hopefully we get to 100. 7 and 6 is 13. And 2 more, wait a minute. Oh, maybe. 7 and 6 is 13, and 2 more is 15, and 5 more is 20. Oh, good. Put down a 0, carry a 2. 6 and 2 is 8, and 1 is 9, and 1 is 10. Phew! The total is 100. So they care about thick crust. So we want the part that is thick crust out of the total number of pizzas ordered. So thick crust appears to be 16. So it appears to be 16 out of a total of 100 pizzas. And so that would be a beautiful answer, except it's not in simplest form. So we have to get this into simplest form. And in order to do that, you have to say what number divides nicely into both 16 and 100. Well, if we think about 16, 1 and 16 divide nicely into 16. 2 and 8 divide nicely into 16. And 4 times 4 will get us to 16. Out of 100, I can tell you 2 goes nicely into that, 4 goes nicely into that. It's up to you. If you start small and you say, well, I know I can divide top and bottom by 2. 16 divided by 2 is 8. 100 divided by 2 is 50. And then you can simplify again. Some students just are more comfortable starting with, if they're both even, trying to divide by 2 and just doing that a few times till they get to simplest form. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 50 divided by 2 is 25. I may have just started by dividing top and bottom by 4. 16 divided by 4 would be 4. 100 divided by 4 would be 25. But really, either way, you get to 4 over 25. The other problem I believe we never got to this week is number 9, so let's take a look at that. It says Michelle bought the same fabric on 3 different occasions and recorded the data below. She gives the number of yards of fabric she bought and the total cost. What is the price per yard? If you see price per yard, we could always set up a ratio. And you want the price per yard. All right, well, you know it's $2.53 for 2.2 yards. And I want to know the price per yard. That means how much does it cost for just 1 yard of fabric. So $2.53 for 2.2 yards. You could have used any one of the given dollar amounts in the corresponding yards, but I'm just going to start with this. $2.53 for 2.2 yards. How much money for just 1 yard? And then we look here and we say, how do you get from 2.2 down to 1? Oh, divide by 2.2. 2.2 divided by 2.2 gets you to 1. If you look at the numerator, 2.53 divided by 2.2 is what? That will tell us how much for 1 yard. I'm going to tell you, if you're going to divide with decimals, if you have 2.53 divided by 2.2, you need to convert this to a whole number. So to do that, I'm going to move my decimal point over 1 place. If I move this decimal point over 1 place, I have to also move this decimal point over 1 place. So that's 25.3 divided by, this becomes 22. Okay, on your calculator, you're going to punch this in to get to your answer. I don't happen to have a calculator at home. So I need to do 22 goes into 25.3 how many times? So I'm going to go ahead and do 22, oops, sorry about that, 22 into 25.3. You probably just punched this into your calculator and got to an answer already. I'm going to drag that decimal point right up. 22 goes into 25 one time. 1 times 22 is 22. Nice thing about this, once we have a whole number on the outside, you just take the decimal on the inside, drag it up, and then you don't have to think about that decimal again. Okay, so 5 minus 2 is 3. 2 minus 2 zeros out, and then I'm going to drag down the 3. How many times does 22 go into 33? That's once. 1 times 22 is 22. 33 minus 22. 3 minus 3 is 1. I'm sorry, 3 minus 2 is 1. 3 minus 2 is 1. That gets us to 11. Going to need to include a 0 here. So I can drag it down. 22 goes into 110. As I look here, the answer must be a 5. So I'm going to do 5. 5 times 2 is 10. Put down a 0, carry a 1. 5 times 2 is 10, and 1 more is 11. Okay. So we figured out this was $1.15 per yard. So that's number 9. Hopefully that helps. That should make it so you're all set on your CR this week. I'll see you on Tuesday.